everyone. My name is Intan Farihah Binti Matali. My matrix number is 820811369. We are Group 4 from class L1T3. Today, my team and I will present about the statistic local bank loan by age, educational background, household income, and debt to income ratio. Siti AMINAH will continue this presentation.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SITI Binti DAUD, number matric A20A1951. Descriptive is the analysis of data to help describe, show or summarize data. Descriptive is a summary of data in the form of table, graph and number. This data aids in describing and comprehending the characteristic of a certain data collection by providing summaries of the sample and data measurement. Descriptive help to simplify large amount of data by reducing a lot of data, making it easier to summarize. In our assignment, we selected local bank loan to review, analyze and draw conclusion. We have chosen to analyze the level of education, that is, did not complete high school degree, some college and a college degree. This is a table of local bank loan. The variable that we are using is age, education background, household income, and debt to income ratio. This table using quantitative data that is numerical.
My name is Muhammad SUKRI bin JALAPAR. My matrix ID is A20A2160. Today I will talk about the graphical representation about household income. Graphical representation refers to the use of intuitive charts to illustrate and simplify clearly dataset. The data is absorbed into a software graphical representation of the data and then represented with various symbols such as lines on a line chart, bars on a bar chart, or cuts on a pie chart, from which the user can obtain a larger view than by numerical analysis alone. From the data that we had the table which is household income. Data distribution is a function or listing which shows all the possible values of the data. With using the distribution, it can calculate the probability of any one particular observation in sample space. To decide the number of classes, the formula that we had used is 2k larger than n or sample. For example, house income rate is 50 of the number in the data. So we use the number of 6 and input into the formula that the answer is 64, which is greater than 50. To determine the class width for household income, the formula is maximum entry minus the minimum entry divided by number of class. So the maximum entry in the household income is 176 minus the minimum entry is 14 divided by 6 and the width class is 27. The first graph is histogram. Histogram graph is a plot point which is used midpoint to show in the graph. The midpoint is calculated by using a frequency table. This graph representing with the intervals between class boundaries and with areas proportional to frequency in the corresponding classes. Graph 1 showed the total of household income. From this histogram of household income, we are using midpoint as x-axis where the number is taken from class interval, while for the y-axis is taken from the amount of frequency. By follow the table, we can say that class of 14 to 40 is higher than others class which is 28 of frequency. For the second graph is frequency polygon. Frequency polygon is graph constructed by using the lines to join the midpoints of each interval. The head of the points represent the frequency. A frequency polygon can be created from the histogram or by calculating the midpoints from the frequency distribution table. In graph 2 show the household income. The data in graph frequency polygon start from 0 for midpoint and the frequency is 0. The second midpoint is 27 and frequency is 28. Third is 54 midpoint and the frequency is 17. Midpoint 81, frequency 2. Midpoint 108, the frequency is 2. The midpoint is 135 and the frequency is 0. And midpoint 162 and the frequency is 0. And midpoint 189 and the frequency is 1, while the last midpoint is 216 and the frequency is 0. From the graph we can see that the highest in the graph frequency polygon is at midpoint 27 and the frequency is 28, while the lowest is at midpoint 135 and 162 and the frequency is 0. The last graph is ogive. The ogive graph are different because the graph use the upper boundaries and cumulative frequency, while the histogram and frequency polygon use the midpoint and frequency. From this ogive of household income, we are using upper boundaries as x-axis where the number is at 0.5 and followed by others plus, while the y-axis is taking from the number of cumulative frequency, which is the adding number from the frequency. By follow the table, we can see that the graph increased from 0 to 189 at upper boundaries data.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Bibi ELLYNA binti Brahim. My metric number 820A1285. Okay, I will be continue about numerical descriptive measure. A descriptive numerical measure is a numerical statistic that describes population characters. The population is described by numerical measure. In each category, the proportion of percentage of data value is the primary numerical measure for qualitative data. The average, median, mode, range, and variance are the numerical measures most commonly used for a quantitative data. Mean is a total number of value which is the sum of all value in a dataset. Mean can also be defined as the average to which all numbers are added and then divided by number. Mean for household income is 44.82. And next, median. Median is the value that lies in the middle of the data when the data set is ordered. For the odd number data entries, the median is the middle of data entry, and even number data entries, the median is the mean of the two middle data entries. Median of household income is 37.61. Next, for mode. Mode is the data entry that occurs with the greatest frequency. If no entry is repeated, the data set has no mode, and if have two entries occur with the same greatest frequency, each entry is a mode and the data set is called B-model. Mode for household income is 32.88. Quarter Q1, we get 25.55, and then Q3, we get the answer negative 33.75. Interquarter range Q3 minus Q1, we get the answer negative 59.25. Range. A range is one of a data which is a difference between the maximum and minimum data entries in the set. The formula of range is maximum data entry minus minimum data entry. Range of household income is 188. Next, for variance and standard deviation, the variance is defined as the average of the square difference for the mean, and standard deviation is measure of how spread out numbers are. The formula is so easy, it is a square root of the variance. We get the answer 29029.38. Lastly, the shape of distribution. The shape of distribution for household income is skewed to right. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Niran, son of NADARAJA. My metric number is 820A1597. Today I want to present part 4, that is statistical analysis using software. 4.1 Numerical descriptive measures. For bank loan is for mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, skewness, standard error of skewness, minimum, maximum, range, sum, percentiles. The total of household income for bank loan is 204.00 and their debt to income ratio for bank loan for percentiles is 46.200. So multiple mode exists, the smallest value is shown in the table. 4.2 Hypothesis testing. ANOVA. The mean square is for regression is 4835.066 and for residual is 657.955 and the total is 49. The p-value from the ANOVA table is 0.000, which is less than 0.005, which means that at least one of the two variable, years and population, can be used the model total bank loan. The result from this statistic is 7.349. 4.3 Correlation analysis. In the scatter plot matrix, graph 1 plot local bank loan against population. It is seen that the higher of population, the higher total of bank loan. Graph 2 plots total bank loan against year. There is no relationship between total bank loan and age. Graph 3 plots population against year, and also there is no relationship between it. For last part, 4.4 Confidence intervals. The equation household income equals to 6.413 plus 1581H, which is we have to minus 2.913 educational background. Thus, for every unit in case increase in education background, household income will drop by 2.913 provided the customer's age remains unchanged. Similarly, for every unit of age, household income will go up by 1.581 units provided the customers is still of the same educational background.
My name is Intan Farihah Binti Matali. My matrix number is 8208139. I will continue this presentation about my topic, which is theoretical modeling. First is model summary. From the SPSS, I can see that the R-square value is 0.238, which means 23.8% of the variation in household income can be explained by age and educational background. Next is coefficient. From the equation, for every unit increase in education background, household income will drop by 2.913, provided the customer age remain unchanged. Similarly, for every unit of age, household income will go up by 1.581 unit, provided the customer is still of the same education background. The last one is test of normality. The Kolmogorov-Smirnov test of normality on the residual give a p-value of the educational background are more than 0.05. Thus, the assumption of normality of the residual term is met. For the Shahrol wheel, the test of normality on the residual give a p-value of 0.056, 0.093 and 0.195 is more than 0.05. Thus, the assumption of normality of the residual terms is met. But the Shahrol wheel test of normality gives a p-value of 0.001, which is less than 0.05. Thus, the assumption of the normality of the residual term is not met. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I am Athirah Shahrol, and I would like to discuss about calculation assignment business statistics. As the calculation from this project or group assignment, we can learn and apply on what we have learned before in business statistics, such as how to make a group data from raw data to responsive into graphic data, as numeric descriptive measure, and also we learn how to ask SPSS. From this, we can know how our understand about this subject and know how to improve it. Besides, we can also learn on how to analyze data use on graph and table. For all raw data, we make is desperation, and after that make it two group data because it's from different dependent variable. To make the data into a graph, there are two types of graph, and we ask histogram and GIF. Statistics is already used in our day-to-day life, such as to make a prediction, quality testing, weather forecast, emergency response list, predictive disease, politics, campaign, insurance, consumer goods, financial market, sport, and other. Statistics play a very important role in all aspects of life.